Benefits and risks of having your eggs frozen. The biggest benefit is it preserves your fertility. When you're freezing your eggs at that time. So if you are younger and you've got good egg quality, that is then frozen for the future, so that you don't have to worry when you get a bit older about declining egg quality. So that's one of the benefits. The other thing is it's like an insurance policy. So you've always got it there if you need it. You might not need it, you might not ever have to use it, but it is something that you have as a backup plan. You can then in the future have IVF. Maybe you haven't met a partner, maybe you're thinking about going down the sperm donor route in the future, and you can have the whole process done, half of the process is done for you. So all you need to do then is add the sperm and have an embryo put back inside your uterus. You don't have to go through the whole IVF process from start to finish in one go. You're kind of splitting it out over a number of years. You do the first part now, and then 2 years time, 5 years time, 10 years time, you do the rest. The risks of having your eggs frozen. Unfortunately, there's no guarantee. Like with any medical procedure, like with IVF, like with other things, there's no guarantee that you will get a baby from this in the future. Unfortunately, when we defrost eggs, we can expect to lose approximately half. Now, this is a really varied number. There is a calculator that I use in the supporting resources so that you can go and use this calculator, and it looks at your age to give you a percentage chance of how your eggs will do. Now, to give you this in a number form, on average, women, when they're having their eggs retrieved, will have around 10 to 20, approximately. Every woman responds differently to the medication. You might have less, you might have more. Now, this is different to when you have an embryo. So an embryo is an egg that's been put with the sperm that is maybe 3 or 5 days old. So the cell division's already started, the making a baby process has already started. That when those are frozen and defrosted, approximately 95% survive the thaw. So they do better than eggs alone. However, I will say technology is improving all the time. Over the last 5 to 10 years, we've seen advances in the thawing and freezing process of eggs. So it's hard to say that right now, these are the numbers, but when you come to use your eggs in 5 years' time, the thawing process will definitely be improved. You know, science is amazing, medical technology is amazing. So hopefully this will just continue to get better as it has done over the last 5 to 10 years. But it's just to make you aware that that is a complication that you can get when freezing your eggs. It is still a medical procedure. So like with any form of medical procedure, you have a risk. There is something called ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome that I do talk about in this program. And that's when your ovaries are stimulated so much from the medication to make lots and lots of follicles and eggs that you can get a buildup of fluid. It can make you quite unwell. So this is one of the risks of having your eggs retrieved and your follicles stimulated on your ovaries. You know, with every medical procedure, there's a risk of infection. There are risks involved. So it's just to make you aware that that is a complication that could occur. Finally, it's expensive. You know, this is not a cheap preserve your fertility option. If you are paying yourself, it can cost quite a lot of money, and that will depend on where you're living, on general prices. Some people do travel to different countries, but then what you have to bear in mind is that your eggs will be in a different country. The second part of the process, so once your eggs are frozen, that's fine, you can then use them when you're ready, but that will also cost money. So you need to pay either for a sperm donor or your partner's sperm to be injected into the egg or put in a petri dish for IVF. ICSI is where we inject the sperm into the egg. IVF is where they're put in a petri dish and they're left to fertilise the egg alone. you've got embryologists, you've got the defrosting of the eggs, then you've got the process of finishing the IVF treatment. So it can be quite costly as you go along. So this isn't a cheap way of preserving fertility, but as of now, it's the only way that we currently have.